Andrew Yang is also giving a thumbs up to super PACs. Yang will be this was written before Biden came out with his open arms to the super PAC. This is the HuffPost article. Businessman Andrew Yang's presidential campaign has relied on his outsider image and message to turn in a surprisingly strong performance so far, but he's now the only Democratic presidential primary candidate embracing a favored tool of political insiders, a super PAC. Again, this was yesterday, so now he's not the only. Joe Biden is now open to super PACs. Democrats running for the president this cycle have largely shunned super PACs, which could raise and spend unlimited sums to support a candidate, provided they don't directly coordinate with the candidate. A tool of a big money era in politics, many progressive politicians are promising to end. Super PACs often collect checks worth tens of thousands of dollars or more from wealthy donors, making them potentially toxic in Democratic primaries. The group backing Yang's presidential bid, Math PAC, is run by Will Haler. Will Haler, a Democratic operative who previously worked as a senior advisor to the Democratic National Committee and a top staffer for now Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison. Haler told Recode the group planned to spend at least $1 million to back Yang. Quote, Math PAC will work to ensure that Americans know that Andrew Yang is our best chance to defeat Donald Trump, the group declares in the mission statement on its website. Quote, we conduct targeted advertising, plan events, and launch outreach initiatives so Americans learn what is at stake this election cycle and into the future. So, I'm sure the Yang Gang is already coming at me, but Jordan, this is a good super PAC. This isn't a bad super PAC. This is a good super PAC. They want to, do algebra. They want to, solve, I don't know, Australian division, or whatever the heck a math PAC does. There's no such thing as a good super PAC. The very idea of a super PAC is bad. And Bernie Sanders, by the way, I think National Nurses United or something like that supported Bernie Sanders had a super PAC. It's one thing to have a quote unquote super PAC that is made up of nurses, right? Giving small dollars and not billionaires. It's another thing if you have a super PAC called the Math PAC. Are we ensured that it's only math nerds donating to the super PAC? Why wouldn't they just donate to his regular campaign committee? A super PAC exists because there are no limits on how much you could donate. That's the whole point of a super PAC. So, I'm sorry. He's not for the $15 minimum wage. He now just came out saying, I'm for the spirit. I'm for the spirit of Medicare for all. But I don't think we should get rid of private health insurance. Do we have that clip? Let's take a listen.
2020, where do you stand on Medicare for all?
I think we need to move towards a Medicare for all system, but I would not get rid of private insurance. The goal has to be to outcompete private insurers. And I think even if we do everything right, there'll still be a role for private insurance in the market.
Besides the fact that he's not for a $15 minimum wage, besides the fact that his universal basic income demands that you come off social welfare programs, besides the fact that he just said he's open to serving as Joe Biden's vice president, besides that fact, he's now putting out this nonsense and this false herring that healthcare should be a commodity up for competition, that healthcare should be commoditized. I don't know. That healthcare should be a profit. That healthcare, you should be able to make profit. This is not what we need for the country. Nice guy. I like the idea of universal basic income, not his version, but he's a businessman, and businessmen think in terms of the free market, even though there's no such thing as a free market. Whenever you have corporations and plutocrats owning the government, they own the government so that the market isn't free. They own the government to make sure the market is rigged. They own the market to make sure that there isn't organic, true competition. That's the whole point of buying off politicians, to do what you want. So I'm sorry, Yang Gang, if you're watching. I don't know how you're going to excuse this one. I don't know how you're going to excuse this one saying, oh, I'll be vice president to Joe Biden. And do what? How are you going to excuse, oh, healthcare, I think there should be competition. No, there is no competition if there's no price controls. You can't have competition without price controls. You can't have competition when the private health insurance industry is buying off the regulators, buying off the politician. So he's putting out, it's not even Republican talking points. It's not even libertarian talking points. It's just corporate businessman, Chamber of Commerce talking points. And we don't need that. And I truly, listen, I'm a journalist. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. But in some of these polls, 4 to 5% of these people supporting Andrew Yang. Again, I don't think he's a bad person. I think he genuinely wants what's best for the country. I think you're being sold the bill of goods here. And I think you should look at alternatives. I really do. Whether it be Bernie or whoever else you want to look at. But if you believe, I understand on paper it looks like, $1,000 a month would change my life. But he doesn't explain, well, if everybody has $1,000 in their pocket, can't companies just raise their prices? When there's more money in people's pockets, a lot of times companies just raise the prices. Secondly, some people with the benefits they get from different things equal more than $1,000. He's saying if his program was $1,000 a month on top of social programs, that would be fine. But that's not what his program is. And I'm sorry, I don't know how you're running. He doesn't call himself a progressive, but anybody saying they're very open to being Joe Biden's vice president, you need to look at that person twice.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.